Can a horror movie based on a beloved interactive game deliver the same chills on the big screen, or does it fumble its best moments? Today, we're diving into Until Dawn on Is It Worth Seeing Theatrically, Episode 30. This is the 2025 horror flick that's an adaptation of a 2015 PlayStation game. And visually, it is a stunning movie. There's a lot of practical effects in this movie, and the theater allows for those visuals to pop and really kind of come out. It does happen to have some tension building in the movie and everything. It certainly was one of those, it's one of these movies where sitting there in the theater, we had the luck of having a person, an individual who was there, and the moment the title of the film showed up, started clapping. So there's obviously somebody who was super excited to see this movie from the get-go. And, you know, there were some high expectations because this is a David F. Sandberg movie. And he had directed before Lights Out and Annabelle Creation, which are a couple of really good horror films. And he certainly has a knack for creepy visuals and jump scares. However, with this one, there certainly was a lacking plot. It seemed like they wanted to kind of do an exposition dump in the last 20 minutes to kind of explain everything that goes on, and they leave out a lot of stuff. And if you're unfamiliar with the game that this is based on, it's a narrative-driven horror title where your player choices shape the story. So it's kind of a choose-your-own-adventure book type of thing. Whereas with the game, you know, you really don't have a lot of choices in how you act and everything. It gives you quick time events, and it gives you like dialogue choices to change like the actual story of the game as it goes on. And some of the changes between the game and the movie is the movie tries to make the story more linear, and it kind of keeps some of the core setup, which is it deals with teenagers, a lodge, and Wendigos, but ultimately it alters a lot of the main storylines and everything that go on in the game. And the movie obviously has a lot of generic slasher moments. There was one moment in the movie where it feels like it is the biggest cop-out because there's the potential for a fairly interesting amount of deaths to have watched that might have been a little bit more interesting to watch, because as far as like the deaths go in this movie, it really does kind of that's like its biggest shining star is the deaths, and how they just come back after those, and you get about three or four of them, and then there's a major cop out where they just skip over a bunch, which was unfortunate because there were some that they kind of teased in this moment that looked like they could have been much better than what we got, and unfortunately they don't utilize them enough. So I mean, ultimately, Until Dawn looks great. It has some tense moments, and Sandberg's a decent director. But there's a lot of wasted potential with this, and obviously the rushed ending where they kind of try and dump everything and explain so much, and they just there's so much that they lose. This just isn't worth full price. You know, the visuals and scares are enhanced by theater, but the story's flaws make it hard to justify a full price. So I would say catch it on discount day if you can, or if you have a subscription service to the theater, and if it's real unlimited, especially since they have no limit to how many movies you can watch in a day. They just have a time frame limit. So I believe it has to be outside of 90 minutes. So if you go to see a movie, the next showing it has to be over an hour and a half away from it before you can go see another one. And if you really enjoyed the Until Dawn game, I would really temper your expectations just to go in for the visuals. And it might be a case where a lot of horror fans may enjoy this movie more than those who like the game. But I would honestly recommend just holding off on this one, unless you really are a visual. You prefer the visuals over like a really deep story or a lot of explanation behind what's going on. You may actually find this one a little bit more enjoyable. But what did you think about Until Dawn? Are you a game fan disappointed by the changes, or did the horror work for you? Drop a comment, like, and subscribe for more episodes of Is It Worth Seeing Theatrically. Have a great day. Bye.